What is going on, folks? So what I'm getting ready to show you guys here is that I had someone on my job who had some issues with their brakes, and it was some crazy brake issues, and it wasn't really her, it was her son. And she would tell me like her son was having issues, whatever. He would say the brakes are really bad, whatever, like that. And I would kind of, I'm very animated, so I was like, ask your son, does the brakes sound like, or do they sound like, you know? And she's like, it sounds like the second one. I'm like, well, he needs to get it done right now. So anyway, she brings this car up to the job, and when she brought it up there, I don't know, like they put glue on the darn tire. Y'all gonna see when I show y'all in here. But I got the tire off. You're gonna see how I got it off. And then I took the brake caliper bolt off from the bracket and moved it out, and couldn't believe what I saw. You guys are getting ready to see it right here. It is absolutely crazy. So it's probably the worst brake job that I've ever done. So here we go. Okay, so first thing, of course, make sure you jack the car up properly to get the wheel just off of the ground high enough. And in this particular case, I put the brakes on lock. Okay, make sure you get a jack stand to put in there just for safety precautions, folks. It ain't gonna hurt to put the jack stand there. I do it all the time, no matter what I do when I jack a car up. I always put a safety jack in the correct spots so there will be no injuries. Okay. See how it's set there? I'm gonna lower it down and let it rest on there a little bit. And once it rests on there all the way, I just kind of give the jack itself a little bit of push and kind of add a little extra oomph to it. So like I said again, the emergency brakes are locked on to keep the wheels from rotating, and I'm just gonna take these off right here. Most of y'all should know how to do this. Anybody that's doing anything like this. So if there's any men, women, teenagers, boys or girls watching, you should know how to do this if you're gonna be getting your license. So license 101, learn how to change a tire. Look at my wife right there a little bit being nosy. Okay, so again, I'm just taking these off, find the right fit for it before I turn them off, and moving on. Okay, this tire was crazy to get off. It was like, felt like it was glued on there. So you could just leave. I sat down on my butt to give it a little bit more leverage, give it a hard kick. Right there, boom, just like that, it popped off. Sometimes you might need to get under the car and behind it, hit it with a sledgehammer, depends on how tight it's on there. You can see how it was just completely glued to that rotor right there. This is gonna be very surprising when y'all see this, though. This is absolutely crazy. So here I'm just taking off the caliper bolt right here, top part, and make sure you have your ratchet set automatically just to where you're gonna be turning to the left. Look, I'm dropping my lights. It's hard to kind of do all this by yourself when you have no cameraman there with you. So yeah, again, make sure that your socket wrench is set to turn to the left. That way when you put it on there, it's going to turn the direction it needs to go to get it off. And if it is kind of hard, I'm sorry, I keep dropping this light. If it is kind of hard to get that bolt off there, then get you a hammer and give it a few taps at the top of the socket wrench so it can help get that off if you can. If you don't have the strength to get it off there, you will not be able to get a breaker bar in there wheel well. Well, not on this car. This is a little Toyota Taurus, or Yaris, I'm sorry, yeah, Yaris. So take the top caliper bolt off right here. Okay, I'm trying to get y'all some good lighting here. Hopefully the music is overshadowing me not talking, so give me a second, folks. I have a light right here that's supposed to attach to metal, has a magnet on, but there's not too much metal in this wheel well area. Not even no area for me to even put it on the frame. So bear with me. And again, that's me taking the caliper nut off right here. As you can see, I just broke it, and once I was able to hand unscrew it, I just screwed it off. And a lot of times to get the brake there, you can just rotate that down. You can kind of break the other one a little bit. But since I'm doing a whole caliper and rotor change here, it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna show y'all. See here how I'm just pushing this off right here, and it rotates it. Now look at this piston right here, completely out. It was stuck. And there's no brake pad in there at all. It was rubbing on the rotor, a piston against the rotor, and it was almost into that those holes you see there that's in there, that porous area. It was getting ready to grind into that. Look at that. It was just tearing the rotor up, and you guys are gonna see once I take the rotor off how badly damaged the rotor is. So anyway, I'm about to take the bottom part off, the bottom caliper nut there. Still probably need to do a little bit of breaking it with the socket wrench before I can unscrew it by hand. So here we go, turning it here. And I know some people are like, yo, get on with it. So anyway, that's me doing that right there. And I'm just trying to get y'all some good lighting in here. So here it is. Look at this. I took the caliper off. Look at that piston right there stuck out. Look how it's just grounded down from being, it's almost like metal on metal. It just started like just burning off from it being metal. Anyway, this little screw right here is what I'm going to be taking off to take the brake line off the back of the caliper. Y'all see it right here? I'm trying to get the light to where it can be on it so I can point. I might point to it. There we go, right there. That right there is what I'm getting ready to take off. This right here. I'm taking that off. There's going to be some brake fluid that's going to leak out too as well. Although most of the brake fluid leaked out of this anyway, because it was just, when that piston being stuck out like that, brake fluid was just coming through it. So I'm trying to give y'all a good view, so bear with me here. Like I said, I don't have no second hand here, it's just me. So that's the screw I was talking about, that's taking off the brake line right there. I broke it, you know. So anyway, give me a second to do this, folks. Like I said, bear with me. And it was brake fluid sprayed everywhere because that caliper was just completely stuck on there. So I'm not broken enough to unscrew it by hand. So like I said, you see the brake fluid is going to come out, but don't worry, we're going to replace the brake fluid. It needed to be replaced anyway because it was low. But what I did is I put the brake caliper back on there with the bottom caliper screw in there to get an anchor, because it gave me a little bit more leverage to take the the bolt that the brake line was in the back of the caliper. It gave me some leverage to take that off. So I just put the bottom in there, and here I am just taking it back off again. And I'm going to take the whole caliper off once that brake line bolt is out of it. That way I can just take off the whole caliper that has the piston in it. The bracket is still going to be on there though. Those are two different bolts that you have to take off. I'll show you guys that in here in a second. So look at that. There it is. Piston just tore up. I mean, there you can't rebuild that at all because he just completely destroyed it. There's the brake line right there. And these two bolts, that bolt right there for the brake bracket, and also this one right here. Those are the ones I'm going to take off next to take this bracket off. That way we can get the rotor off here. This one, yep. See it? Hopefully I'm not going too fast for some of you. Anyway, let me try to get myself situated again. Give you guys a good view so you can see me take this off. I tried to get my breaker bar in here, but it wouldn't fit, so I actually had to put my socket wrench on here again. See, that's my socket wrench. That's a 1/2-inch socket wrench, and I'm just pretty much giving it some taps at the top with my hammer to break those bracket bolts loose. I'm hitting it at the top. You know, the further you are away from it, the easier it'll be to get it off. So I'm just using the hammer to tap the end of this socket wrench right here to help break the bolt so we can take the brake bracket off. And there we go. I think I'm breaking it loose now, as you can see. There we go. Okay, and then I'm just gonna do the same thing to the bottom here. I just loosen the top one. I'm gonna loosen this bottom. That way I can just take them on off. If they're stuck on there really, really good, you might need to spray some PB penetrating oil in there. It depends. So there I am using my hammer to just break this. You guys are going to see in a second. I'm just doing some taps to it, getting it on there good. It's kind of hard to hold it right there one hand. And y'all have no idea how close this camera is to me too. So anyway, there I go. I broke it off. As you can see, I'm screwing it nice and good. It's coming off. This brake bracket, because I'm replacing the whole thing, the caliper along with the brake bracket along with the rotor. And it was all just destroyed. Here it is. Here's the comparison. Here's the brand new one right here. Make sure you always compare them to make sure it's the right fit. And look at this one with the brake caliper just stuck out. Look how, that's how stuck out it was. That is absolutely crazy. Look at that. And that much room, and it stuck out like that. It was just constantly grinding on that rotor. I told her that her son was very talented. Look at that. It was just crazy shearing off the metal of the rotor, and it was shearing off the metal on this piston as well. All that heat, just crazy. I told her that, woo, her son need to be in trouble for that one. But look at this right here. Look at this rotor. Look at this. That boy was driving his car on a prayer. Seriously, look at the crack right there. That whole rotor was just completely cracked, probably from the heat of that metal being on metal. It just kind of made that metal get soft right there. Look at that. The rotor is just cracked, and he was driving like that. And then also look at the surface of the rotor. Like, oh, the inside of this was just pretty much rusted, as you can see. It was kind of hard to get off. I had to sit there and knock it. But watch this. I'm gonna show y'all. There's a deep crack in the rotor too right here. Look at those little nicks right there. But look at this crack right there going through the rotor. I mean, that's just crazy. It was getting ready to go into those little ridges there. But look at the surface. Look how thick this is on this side compared to the one that the piston was rubbing up against. super thin. Look at that. I mean, that's just absolutely crazy. He's talented. So anyway, I'm just doing everything in reverse order here to get the new one on, the new rotor along with the new brake caliper and also I've already pre-sprayed that right there with some brake cleaner and all that, just let it kind of come off, and then I sprayed it with like a little water, whatever. But anyway, here's a new rotor going on there. You can see it's nice and shiny. Both surfaces are nice, got a nice thickness on it. And I just went in reverse order, put the brake caliper on there. Guys, you just fit it right on there, put the bolts in there, just go in reverse order, nothing to it. And now I'm getting ready to put the brake line on there. So that's the bottom bolt, the top bolt and the bottom bolt. I'm trying to get the camera there so you guys can see that I put both bolts on there for the brake bracket, not the caliper bolts, but because caliper bolts, it already came pre-assembled. So all I have to do is put the brake bracket bolts in there. The one right there I just pointed to, top right there. I'm sorry, y'all, I know this is shaky. I'm just trying to show you here, that bolt right there, and then the one right down here. And I'm getting ready to put the brake line on here in a second so I can show y'all, because that little point that sticks out right there, it actually goes into a nice little fitting hole they have back there. So anywho, give me a second to show you guys. So here's the little piece I was talking about. Let me get this straight for you guys. Here we go. That little, see there's the bolt to the brake line, and it has those two little copper pins right there, little washers to go on there to tighten it. So there it is, the bolt right there to the back of the brake caliper where the piston comes out at. That pushes the brake fluid to that caliper and makes it go out against the rotor. So I'm just hand tightening it for right now. I'm just, ooh, you got some good picture right there now. Oh God, I just screwed it up, spoke too soon. Oh boy, hold on for a second. I'm still trying to adjust this so I can give y'all a good angle to see this for my apprentices that's gonna be watching this. So there it is, see how that little piece right there is gonna fit into that hole right there. Right there. It's gonna fit right in there just like that. See that? And I'm just gonna hand tighten this, and then after that I'm gonna tighten it with my socket wrench. Now you can get a like a pretty much a small socket to put behind there and just hand tighten it. Don't do it too crazily, don't over tighten it, but just do it enough to where you know it's not gonna cause no fluid to break out once you start to bleed the brakes. So I'm just gonna tighten that with my little socket, and then I'm gonna go on from there. Okay, there we go. They got special wrenches that you can put on it too, where it says, you know, adjust it to like 40 pounds per square inch, whatever like that. A torque wrench. That's what I'm talking about. And here it is right here. You can see I'm putting in these little brake clips that the brake pads are going to go into. So you put the brake clips in there on each side. They come already with the package that they give you along with the this whole assembly right here. So there it is with the brake pads inside there. There it is with the piston already being pushed back, and I'm putting the brake pads on there. Yep, and it's on there. Both on both sides, and I just slide it forward like that. I'm going to put the brake caliper nut in. There it is, all back on in its glory, nice and shiny. Brake bracket, brake caliper, new disc brakes, a new rotor, and I bled the brakes from that little knob right there. See that? This little knob. Don't take much to do it. If you want to, I mean, if all you guys got YouTube, just look up how to bleed brakes or whatever like that. It's really easy, pumping the brakes, letting air out to allow the liquid to go in there. So anyway, I'm about to put the tire back on there, and that should be it. This was absolutely ridiculoso. Okay folks, so with all that being done, make sure that you really look up how to bleed brakes. It's an easy thing, but you can mess some things up to where your brakes are going to be too soft. And once you do bleed the brakes, make sure you pump your brakes until that brake pedal becomes super stiff. Okay, this is after you bled it and the air is all out. Pump the brakes until the brakes become real stiff. Take it somewhere, you know, a small little drive, not driving too fast, and make sure everything is working right. And the other thing is, it may seem like it's real stupid, but if you're watching this video, if your brakes, when you're stopping, if they're, that's a sign that your brakes are wearing down and you need to go get them possibly checked out. Now, it don't mean that the pad is completely wore all the way out, but The first time while driving your car, if your brakes ever go like that, you need to get them changed right now. Like now, you know. On this right here, I've never seen it to where the brake pad was completely gone. Like he had the piston pressed against the brake pad, wore the brake pad out. It pressed against the brake pad metal that holds the brake pad, wore that out. And then the darn piston was pressing against the rotor and was getting ready to wear the rotor out to the point to where it was getting ready to hit those ridges right there. As y'all can see, I showed y'all in there where it was actually starting to crack. And did you see that the rotor was completely cracked? Yeah, that was absolutely crazy. I never seen it like that. I told her son is talented and she needs to spank him. I don't care how old he is, because he could have put a lot of people's lives in danger, man. Not just yours, but also the people you might have would have messed up on the highway. Now they family would end up getting involved because you would have messed up some families. May seem like a small little thing, folks, but make sure you take care of the brakes, all right? Anytime something else comes up that I do, be it around my house, be it with another coworker or a friend whose car or something I might be working on, I'll do my best to get it posted so you guys can learn some stuff from there. And that's all I got for right now. I'm Ty Smith, Mountain Renaissance Man, hoping and praying that every last one of you guys have food, shelter, and clothing. And I hope and pray every last one of you guys are in great health. God bless you through Jesus. I'm a survivor. Fighting my life. Right here is most likely the next video that you're going to go to. If you are watching the premiere, this is going to lead you to the next reaction video. This one right here is most likely going to be the video you're going to watch that has stuff to do with me and my comedy stuff, different things that I do, all right?